Oil production could mean for U.S. gas prices and why officials accuse the cartel of helping Russia's war effort.
And we've got a cold front coming into the area just in time to cool us off for the weekend. We'll talk the cooler weather and the rain chances on the way coming up.
And an Australian company has found a way to grow water.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Biden administration weighs its options after OPEC Plus says it's cutting oil production in order to boost prices. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Tapping our first 7 minutes. OPEC Plus, the international coalition of oil-producing nations, says it plans to cut oil production by millions of barrels per day. Skylar Henry shows us how the cuts will have a direct effect on prices at the pump and heating your home as we head into winter.
The White House is expressing dismay at the decision by OPEC Plus to reduce its output.
OPEC's decision to cut production's quotas is short-sighted while the global economy is dealing with the continued negative impact of Putin's invasion of Ukraine.
On Wednesday, the energy cartel announced it was lowering production by 2 million barrels a day, its biggest cut since the start of the pandemic.
We are not endangering the energy markets. We are providing security, stability to the energy markets.
OPEC officials described the reduction as a hedge against falling demand due to a recession.
Everything has a price. Energy security has a price as well.
OPEC's cut goes into effect in November, raising the prospect of gas prices spiking, costing consumers more to heat their homes and at the gas pump in the days leading up to the midterm election. To counter the reduction, President Biden is expected to order the release of up to 10 million barrels of oil from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve. But that would only provide temporary relief for consumers.
It's ridiculous.
It wastes a lot of money now.
Everything's more expensive.
The Wall Street Journal reports that the Biden administration may be willing to lift some sanctions against Venezuela to allow it to resume oil exports. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
The gas prices are already rising across the 4 states. Nationally, the average cost for a gallon of unleaded fuel is $3.86. Missouri and Kansas both fall about 40 cents below that, and Oklahoma weighs in at $3.53 a gallon. Now, locally, you can find gas on average in Jasper County for $3.44, in Crawford County for $3.45, and in Ottawa County for $3.53 a gallon. Well, it's looking like a great day to head out for a drive. Well, at least weather-wise. Chris Warner joins us with the first look at the forecast.
Yeah, those gas prices make it a little uncomfortable to take that drive, but you're absolutely right. The weather that we have on the way is the perfect driving weather. Put the top down, get on your motorcycle, whatever you feel like doing. Or if you want to save on gas, just go out in your yard. Just sit there, relax. Sit on the porch, enjoy the cool weather because it is coming, but briefly. So here's where we're at right now. We got 76 Lamar, 77 Joplin, 78 Oswego, and we do have a lone 80-degree reading in Sedan, but coming close in Neodesha and Yates Center. The Chanute now at 81 degrees. Neodesha, Yates Center, though, you guys are at 79 right now. Taking a look at the Drought Tracker. Again, no changes, which is, I suppose, a good thing, but as you can see, large chunk of the area still in exceptional drought conditions with a big area of extreme drought and severe drought surrounding that. So any rain we get is not necessarily going to make a huge dent in this, but the rain is certainly beneficial. As we go through today, still expecting a high of 82. We'll have a few more clouds out there later in the day, so it'll be partly cloudy. 80 by 5, 68 by 8. And then a cold front comes in and brings our temperatures down. Now, the other thing is we also have a gusty north wind as well. The wind's already shifting out of the north, and it's starting to gust up there around 20 miles an hour. We're going to have more on the cool down and what it's going to do to our temperatures and some rain chances. That's right, rain. It's that water that falls from the sky that's on the way. We'll break it all down for you here in just a few minutes.
Quit teasing us with these chances of rain. I hope it happens.
So do I, and I'm sure everybody out there hopes that it happens.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, there's a new development in the case of a cinematographer accidentally shot and killed by actor Alec Baldwin on the set of his movie Rust. Baldwin and his fellow producers have reached a settlement with Helena Hutchins' family. The deal will allow production to resume. As part of the terms of the settlement, Matthew Hutchins, Helena's husband, will now be an executive producer on the film, working alongside Alec Baldwin. Now, a criminal investigation is still underway. Baldwin and his attorneys have denied any wrongdoing. Baldwin was holding the gun during a scene rehearsal last October when it discharged a live round, killing 42-year-old Hutchins and injuring director Joel Souza. In California, police found the bodies of a family of 4 that had been kidnapped earlier this week. Merced County officials say they found the Singh family in a very rural area last night. The youngest victim was just 8 months old. They were found the same day a video was released showing a masked man kidnapping the family members from their trucking business at gunpoint. In world headlines, authorities say a former police officer attacked a daycare center in Thailand this morning, killing more than 30 people with a gun and a knife. At least 22 of the victims are children, as young as 2 years old. Witnesses say the 34-year-old became agitated after he opened fire on the nursery and realized his child was not there. Officials say the gunman then went home and killed his wife and child before taking his own life. The officer lost his job on the police force last year over drug allegations. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, growing water.
Turning tomatoes into drinking water. An Australian company found a way. I'm Danya Backus with how they do it and, more importantly, why.
And later, we're making Hayride pumpkin squares in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Water is California's most precious commodity as the state endures one of its worst droughts in recorded history. State officials say more than 1,200 wells have run dry this year, a nearly 50% increase over the same period last year. And now an Australian company has tapped into an innovative solution to the crisis by growing water that's suitable for drinking, agriculture, and just about any other use. Danya Backus explains how it works.
California's water crisis is most severe in the San Joaquin Valley, the country's most productive agricultural region. This year's rain and snowmelt wasn't enough to replenish already depleted groundwater supplies, and wells are being pumped dry. But now, an Australian company says it has tapped into a new and possibly endless well of clean, fresh water that's available virtually anywhere on Earth.
We like to say that, in simple terms, we grow water.
Terry Paul is the co-founder and CEO of Botanical Water Technologies.
Plants, fruit and vegetables, sugarcane, are often 95% water. So if we can find a way to harvest that water that naturally occurs in plants, then we've found a new source of water.
BWT recently partnered with California's Ingomar Packing Company. Ingomar turns tons of San Joaquin Valley-grown tomatoes into ketchup and tomato paste. The natural byproduct of that process is water, which until now just went down the drain.
We evaporate a lot of the tomato to create ketchup, and that evaporative condensate is what we catch, and then we run that through our purification process.
That happens in this self-contained unit, which fits inside a shipping container.
From one factory alone, we can create up to 250 million gallons of water in a 90-day period.
The clean water then can flow through pipelines or be trucked to municipalities, depleted reservoirs, farms, industry, and even household water tanks. BWT is currently working to provide drinking water to several thirsty California cities. So after you turn this into this, how does it taste?
The water is this water that I'm drinking. It's crystal clear. It tastes like really, really great water.
Each water purification unit costs about $1 million and can travel to wherever any crop is undergoing processing.
Where we see a truck of tomatoes, it's also a truck of water.
Paul says next he's taking the technology to India, where clean water is a scarce commodity.
This is game-changing. This is a huge invention for the world.
But here in the U.S., it starts with tomatoes, a drop in the bucket that could lead to a fountain of clean water for anyone who needs it. Danya Backus, CBS News.
Botanical Water Technologies has created a water exchange where corporations that would like to give back to their communities can purchase and gift the water. The company hopes to play a major role in alleviating the world's water problem by delivering clean and safe drinking water to 100 million of the world's most vulnerable people by the year 2025. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Hayrides, apple picking, and pumpkin carving. It's a busy day in the test kitchen as we take a walk down memory lane.
But first, Chris Warner returns with your complete forecast.
We've got one more day in the 80s, and then we're going to get at least a little break from the above normal temperatures thanks to a cold front getting ready to roll through this evening. So we're going to talk about what that cold front's going to do for us along with other things. Take a look, 7th and range line right now. If you look close enough, you can see there's a few stray clouds out there, and we'll see a few more clouds build into the areas. We'll be partly cloudy as the day goes on, thanks to this cold front. Got a west-northwest wind at 7. It is 77 in Joplin, and boy, this feels like temperature is getting outrageous. Feels like 78 right now. That's just because the air is still pretty dry, and that's how it's going to be. This cold front actually doesn't really have any precipitation associated with it. It's just got a temperature change associated with it. So some of us already a bit warmer, like Sedan, Chanute, 80 and 81, 79 Neodesha, Parsons, 76 in Pittsburgh, and Carthage, 77 Neosho and Anderson at this noon hour. We've been talking about it since this morning, but there's some great news for allergy sufferers because I know a lot of you have been cooped up inside for the last several weeks. Pollen counts continue to drop, a 4.9 out of 12 today, 4.4 out of 12 for tomorrow, and the long-range pollen counts are looking to continue to go even lower than that. So if you are suffering from allergies, this weather's getting nice enough that you'll be able to go out with low pollen counts and, enjoy the fresh air for a few minutes. Today, still looking at a high of 82 degrees, partly cloudy skies. We're 78 at 2, 80 by 5, and 68 by 8 o'clock this evening. And that cold front comes through and gives us a pretty cool night. So we're looking at 51 for an overnight low under partly cloudy skies. Some of our outlying areas may even reach the upper 40s. So we're talking chilly. It's seasonable, but chilly compared to what we have seen. And then we look at the weekend, and the weekend is just one small taste of what this cold front does. We got partly cloudy skies on Saturday, 72. Sunday, we're 74 with some shower chances starting to build in, which we'll see on the future track. We get isolated to widely scattered shower chances heading through the weekend and into the start of next week. And we have slightly better chances of more organized showers as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, and possibly even into Thursday, which, again, it's rain we need. We're not talking a ton of rain, but we're talking rain nonetheless, and any kind of precipitation we can get is definitely beneficial. And then it'll clear out of here and leave us with really seasonably cool temperatures. So there's another thing we're looking at too. Right now, the wind's not gusting too bad this evening, but over the next couple of days, we could see some pretty high gusts out there. And these are just the gusts, not sustained winds, but upwards of about 30 miles an hour as we head into tomorrow morning and into tomorrow evening and afternoon. Still staying gusty across the area, so make sure your trash can is, secured, bolted down, whatever it is you need to do with it to keep it in place. So again, just a reminder, 82 today. We drop 11 degrees tomorrow to 71. Hold on to the 70s through the weekend. Then we watch the increasing shower chances, and they stay with us all the way through Thursday as we talk. But as you can see, we also start to warm back up into the lower to mid 80s. Now, once the rain is done with us Thursday, we kind of reach a maximum here, 85, and then temperatures start to come back down. And we get back down to the mid to upper 70s, so still not quite where we should be, but not bad nonetheless. And we have some rain in between all of this. So we got just a much better looking forecast than what we've seen the last several weeks here in the area.
We potentially could have a really wet week next week if we get a little every day.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're not talking a ton of rain. We're not talking several inches of rain, which is kind of what we need at this point. But we're talking rain, and it will help. And we're still watching a couple of weeks out for a chance of slightly better rain chances, and maybe a few inches of rain. But again, it's still 2 weeks out. We're keeping an eye on it, but it is something we're keeping our fingers crossed for, something we're keeping an eye on.
Well, and what we don't want is that deluge that just comes so fast and so hard that since the ground's dry right now, it's just going to run away and do no good.
Right, and that leads to flash flooding and causes other issues that we do not need. What we need is something like this, where we get enough rain spread out over several days.
Well, hope it happens. Keep doing that rain dance.
I'm working on it.
All right, thanks, Chris. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Seaman 1st Division Bobby Essick in the U.S. Navy. The Parsons, Kansas native served aboard the USS Lexington aircraft carrier from 1960 to 1962. To Bobby Essick, we thank you, our four-state hero. Looking for a sweet and cozy way to welcome in fall? Well, Howard shows us how to make Hayride pumpkin squares today in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Fall means different things to different people, depending on where they grew up. I'm from upstate New York, where the fall includes lots of apple picking, hay rides down country roads, and a trip to a pumpkin patch to find just the right pumpkin. Whether you have similar memories or not, you can still enjoy the flavors of fall by whipping up a batch of our Hayride pumpkin squares. We start by combining some flour, salt, baking powder and baking soda, cinnamon, and nutmeg. After it's mixed, in another large bowl, we beat together some canned pumpkin, eggs, a good amount of sugar, vegetable oil, and a splash of vanilla. Now we add our dry ingredients to this, mixing it until it's smooth. Then into a baking dish it goes before popping it in the oven. While this bakes, don't be surprised if your neighbors stop by to see what smells so darn good. You can bet they'll stick around for a piece or two. To get the recipe for what we call our Hayride pumpkin squares, just head over to our website. Maybe put on your favorite flannel shirt to get you in the mood. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a sweet and cozy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
Another look at that 7-day forecast. 82 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, and 71. 70s through the weekend. We watch increasing rain chances heading into next week. We also watch temperatures make a return to the lower to mid 80s.
Well, coming up tonight at 5, an off-Broadway show in New York featuring Sesame Street favorites is lifting the curtain on autism. In Health Watch, how Cookie Monster and Elmo are taking part in sensory-friendly shows. Plus, Missouri Governor Mike Parsons is touring Jasper County today, visiting technology centers to talk about workforce development. And local 5th graders will get to speak with pilots and learn about aviation as Fly Kansas Air Tour lands in Pittsburgh. Join us for those stories and much more tonight on the KOAM News at 5.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I've never been in a plane. This seems like the only opportunity I'd have to actually at least just step in one.
Yeah, I'm sure they let them.
As long as it doesn't take off, we'll be all right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for the KOAM News at Noon.
The rest of the team will see you right back here at 5 o'clock.